right, let's come into the studio and continue with our discussion. Now, the rainy season is upon us again, and you all know what happens, especially in the capital when it rains. Floods and deaths have dominated the headlines in such seasons. But the National Disaster Management Organization has come under criticism for being reactive rather than proactive in dealing with such situations. Last week, officials of the organization hit the streets on a flood preparedness assessment journey. What did they find, and how prepared is the city for the rains this time around? Archibald Kobina is NADMO's Greater Accra Regional Coordinator. He joins me in the studio. Director, he joins me in the studio. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Christine.
Also here with me in the studio is Humo Dili Said, who is an officer and assemblywoman for Ofankor Electoral Area. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so I take it that you were on the trip for the assessment?
Yes, please, I was with my boss.
So tell us which areas you visited, which areas are of concern to NADMO, and what you found on your trip.
Okay. I think that it's worthy of note that in Greater Accra we have about 1,000 flood-prone areas in the region. Okay. Immediately I was appointed, I thought to go around immediately because like His Excellency the President said that his interest is for NADMO to do more preventive work rather than management of disaster. And therefore I thought it wise to go down rather and see what is happening on the field. Okay. So we went through some of the major drains areas like Nima, Mamobi areas. We went to Odoko, we went through Sakaman areas, we went through Glife, Odona, and some areas to have an assessment, a fair view of some of the areas and what happens. It will interest you to know that a lot of what happens is self-inflicted, or in other words, man-made, because a lot of us dump straight our waste and garbage from our various homes directly into the drain. And this is one major cause of flooding. Again, you could realize that a lot of the space that we have beside the major drains all around, you have a lot of mechanics who are parking, a lot of cars there for several years on end, and these cars find their way into the drain and get to lock up somewhere. Then we have our scrap dealers as well. A lot of scrap dealers have packed a lot of scraps by the major drains. People who have organizers who have packed ties and all of that. These things enter back into the drain, and then they go to choke somewhere and we flood. Again, something else that I found out. For example, the major drains, you realize that when it rains, all of the water collects into the major drains and it's supposed to move towards the sea. But what you find out is that a lot of the adjoining drains that come to enter into the major drains, they all come to hit the major drains, say about 90 degrees. And these I find worrying, because once you find the pool of water that is zooming towards an area, and then the adjoining drain comes at 100 degrees, what happens is that it comes to hit the other water, and you will find that it's naturally going to flood the areas. Okay. And therefore, this is something that we're recommending, that, I mean, going forward, a lot of these adjoining drains that come to hit our major drains, we need to curve them in such a way that they are directed towards the flow of water, so that the one that is coming and the one that comes to join the main drain would not have any collusion at the junction.
Okay, so these are basically what you found, which actually confirms a story that we already know, because we seem to know all the problems. We seem to know the reasons why we're getting all these flooding, etc. What then are the measures that, after your trip, to verify for yourselves what the problem really is, what then are the measures that are being put in place to ensure that in this year we would have different headlines, that the headlines won't be about flooding? That sometimes people can even argue that, look, you can take the pictures of last year and do the stories for this year, because the stories are the same, nothing changes. What measures are you putting in place, or have been put in place, to ensure that we don't have to deal with the flooding as we've had to over the years?
Number one, desilting works. you will find out that the silting work has started. As NADMO, we are supposed to liaise with various government agencies and bodies to ensure that we improve upon the system. Okay. And therefore, you will find out that in contact with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the regional administration, the regional minister, okay, we've had some desilting work that has started around some of these areas. Number two.
Which areas are we looking at?
Oh, we have.
For the desilting?
Yeah, it started in.
I mean, we know we've been desilting Odona for many months, or if you like, for years now. So which areas are we desilting now again?
Some works have started in Osu.
Okay.
Works have started around Sukura areas. Works around the Graphic Road, Carnation areas. And some areas like that. So it's going to continue in other areas as well. Okay. Again, we're intensifying public education. Okay. I think that all of us, we are all partners and stakeholders in all of this. So, well, before the rains take on very seriously, public education is critical. Okay. Because as we go up and down our responsibilities and duties, we all need to wake up to the fact that, hey, the rains are here. Okay. So that very little things that we need to do to ensure that we do them. Okay,
let me bring in Madam Humu here in the studio. You are Assemblywoman for Ofankor electoral area, yeah, and you're also an officer at NADMO. Yeah. Your area floods as well, doesn't it?
Yes, it is. You know, flooding is, I mean, a hallmark name in Greater Accra, if you have to talk about flooding. And one cannot talk about NADMO and leave our traditional authorities out. Okay. Because the traditional authorities, they own the lands. So I will use this medium to plead with them that although the lands belongs to them, but they should liaise with the assembly, with the engineers, so that the proper layout will be done, and then also have a good demarcation in selling of the land. Because sometimes some of the waterways, they sell the land, one builds over there, and when the rains are here, now everybody will be crying foul, flood everywhere. So now the traditional authorities, we are pleading with you that although the land belongs to you, but then you should also liaise with the assembly to get all things done equal for all of us. Because at the end of the day, how will you feel as a chief that one has bought a land and then the person died because of what? Flood? No.
But don't they liaise with them already? This is something that they do already, isn't it?
But then, I think if they really liaise with them well, an engineer will not advise the chief that he should sell a land on the waterway.
Okay, so it tells me that you've identified this particular, how the relationship between the traditional authorities and NADMO as a problem. What steps have you taken to deal with it? I believe you've known this as a problem for some time now.
Yes. As at now, my director, who is sitting by me, okay, Honorable Archibald Kobna, he is going to have a forum with the chiefs because they are stakeholders, in order for them to know that these things are not to be done. They are supposed to be done in a nice manner, in such a way that we will not have floods and Accra will be flood free.
Have you already started engaging them, the chiefs?
Some of them.
You have,
yes.
Some of them.
Yes.
Okay, so when are you going to hold this forum to engage them?
Everything is in the pipeline. As I speak to you now,
we don't like the pipeline. Yes. Give us specifics.
Yes, I can't give you specific now because NADMO now is handicapped. Okay,
well, your director is here. He's the one.
NADMO is handicapped now.
Well, as for the handicap, we already know, but we also know that we need solutions to the problem. Yeah. So, well, the director is here. Yes. Please.
For example, I as part of the solutions, before I come there, for example, I've liaised with the military in ensuring that we have a rapid response team, well trained and then well equipped. That one will come to that point, that we need to equip them well so that you can have them ready to intervene in certain areas. We have also decided to put out our emergency lines. A lot of people do not know our emergency lines, and therefore would like that people should know our emergency lines so they can call. Okay. If you give me the opportunity, I want to mention them out.
Emergency lines, sure.
We have 0299 350030.
Okay.
That's for the headquarters. Okay. Then we have 0299 350 434.
434. So these are the
and then 0299
0299
350
350
434. 435.
435. So these are the numbers that you should
emergency
call.
lines.
Once
you call,
if you're flooded,
yes,
or if your house is flooded or
yes,
something, you should call these
yeah,
numbers.
you should call these numbers, and then we will quickly respond to that. And
so
like
does it mean that as of now, the best we can do is really just react to the problems? That doesn't mean that we can't have a preventive measure. I mean, apart from desilting, which we don't know when we're going to finish, by the way, we don't really know.
But it's a major, really major factor, because once you desilt the drains, then a chunk of the water will have its way.
Okay. 2,
the people in low-lying areas all have to be very conscious. Of course, in Africa, and of course in Ghana here, in Greater Accra here, once you live within a community, you see the weather has changed. Suddenly, you know that it's going to flood, it's going to rain. And of course, you know the time in which we are. And therefore, certain preparations must be done. And we are telling everybody that life is important. Don't go out trying to save your property. Ensure that you, your children, your communities, and these are the reasons why we need chiefs, we need the assembly members as well on board.
So you are engaging the chiefs in the forum?
We need every single person.
When is that going to happen?
I'm sure that this week we'll inform you, we'll send the letters to you as well, so that you can participate, you can be part of it, because the media is also a stakeholder in all of this.
Apart from
we really will need you, apart from the chiefs. We're looking at the youth groups, the various leadership, the assembly members, like I have said. And of course, each and every one of us. Once you know where you are selling, you're selling under a tree, or you have your activity is under a tree, and you know that once it rains, there are major storms, and therefore branches can fall off and all of that. You need to make sure that you move yourself from there.
Putting preventive measures.
Of course.
So the chiefs, the youth groups, opinion leaders that you're seeking to reach them, what is the message? What message are you taking to them? Let me bring you in on this.
Thank you very much. The message is just simple. The rains are here. Let us all come on board to prevent.
Okay, so in prevention, what do you want them to do? What are you telling them to do in this forum that you're going to organize?
Well, one, every chief, every opinion leader should make sure that within his jurisdiction, you bring people together. One, identify safe havens. What we call safe havens are higher grounds, where in case of flooding, people can easily move and be safe in those areas, and then call for help. And then everybody knows where you live. You know that this area usually it floods when it gets rain. So we want to make sure everybody is really conscious of the fact that everybody plays a role. Every single individual. Lights must be off when you see that the rain starts, so that electricity would not...
Why should lights be off when the rains are starting?
Well, you see, because sometimes some poles fall off. Yes, some poles fall off. And therefore, once it starts at certain points, definitely the ECG comes in and the lights are turned off, so that we do not have electrocution or what have you, because water and electricity, you know,
So what new do you bring on board? You are the new director, right? What's the key, if you were to give me 1 or 2 words of what new you bring on board for what's different from what has been done over the years? What would you say?
I think I bring a certain level of seriousness and urgency to the issue of prevention, rather than the managing disasters. And I take this as a cue from His Excellency the President, who said seriously that every single life and property is very, very essential, and that he expects of us that we take up this business of prevention more seriously. Again, I wish you to give me the opportunity to appeal to everyone and every one of us that the NADMO itself would need support from every single individual.
What kind of support?
Resources. Once the rains are here, we need vehicles.
The government is there to give you resources?
Well, of course, but government alone cannot do all.
So what do you want? So is this some kind of appeal for people to support NADMO?
Why not?
With resources?
Why not?
With money?
Why not?
Really?
We need resources. We need.
But NADMO
we need our jackets. We need life jackets. We need what do you call it? Water pumping machines that we can pump water and have and exit the water or give them different channels. We need wheelbarrows. We need so many things in cases that you need to break walls.
Okay, she's adding mattresses.
In cases,
buckets.
Yes, all of that. We need everything. In fact, even medication, because once there is disaster, immediately you need to make sure that you give first aid. And like I was saying, sometimes walls need to be broken in order for water to exit. And therefore, all of these hardware materials. We want to entreat all of us to be conscious that the rains are here, and each and every one of us has a role to play.
Thank you so much for passing through here in the studio. I have Ashford Kobna, who is the new director for NADMO Greater Accra, correct?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. And then I also had Humo Dele Said, who is an officer and assemblywoman for Ofanko Electoral Area. Kudos to you. We've got very few females in leadership, so well done that you are an assemblywoman. We hope that you rise through the ranks and probably become an MP one of these days. Okay, so we've been talking about the rain and how we're going to deal with the rains. The NADMO are promising the people of Ghana that they're looking to be more preventive rather than managing disaster. Hopefully, they will be able to do so. In the meantime, though, they're asking for your help. They say they need vehicles, they need mats, they need etc., etc. They need your help. Okay.